Hey there. Welcome to today's deep dive. We're going to be exploring the global business landscape,
Okay.
really looking at how political shifts and economic uncertainty are creating some really interesting ripple effects.
Yeah,
Get ready to connect the dots between seemingly unrelated events.
I love that.
Things are about to get fascinating.
It is remarkable how one event can set off a chain reaction across continents and industries,
Absolutely.
and that's what we're going to be looking at today.
Yeah, let's jump right in with President-elect Trump.
Okay.
He's back,
Back.
and he's wasting no time.
Right.
He's already making waves with proposed tariffs on imports from Canada, Mexico, and China.
Big ones.
What are your initial thoughts on this?
Well, it's fascinating to see the immediate reactions. I mean, Mexico's already suggesting retaliatory tariffs, and China's raising concerns about potential trade wars.
Right.
But what's particularly intriguing is how the markets are responding.
Right. It's not just like a simple knee-jerk reaction.
No.
We're seeing the S&P 500 actually trending upwards,
Upward.
defying expectations.
Yes.
Seems like tech giants, especially Microsoft, are driving this surprising climb.
Yeah. I think what this suggests is that investors are making calculated bets.
Okay.
And while trade tensions definitely create uncertainty,
Yeah.
there's a sense that the tech sector, with its reduced reliance on these traditional trade flows, will continue its growth trajectory.
Right.
So it's really a case, I think, of investor confidence outweighing immediate economic anxieties.
Interesting. So this kind of brings to mind the vulnerabilities of companies that are heavily reliant on those cross-border supply chains.
Absolutely.
Ford and GM, they immediately felt the heat. Their stock prices took a hit.
Yeah.
Why are they particularly susceptible to these tariff pronouncements?
Well, they're both very deeply integrated into that global supply chain.
Yeah.
I mean, their production processes really depend on the smooth flow of parts and materials across borders.
Uh-huh.
And any disruption like tariffs adds significant costs and logistical challenges.
Yeah. So investors immediately recognize this vulnerability, hence the immediate stock fluctuations.
So is this tariff move like a genuine policy shift? Or is this a negotiation tactic from Trump, a power play we've seen before?
It's a great question, and I think Capital Economics offers a very insightful perspective on this.
Okay.
They suggest it could be a way for Trump to sort of assert dominance early on and set the tone for his economic agenda.
Right.
Whether it translates into long-term protectionist policies or is simply a bargaining chip remains to be seen.
Okay.
We'll have to see how this unfolds.
All right. Well, that's a great segue into our next discussion point.
Okay.
Let's move from the manufacturing floor to the complexities of healthcare.
Okay.
The Biden administration's proposal to expand Medicare, Medicaid coverage for weight loss drugs was making headlines.
It was a big one.
But now, with Trump's return, the situation has gotten a bit more complex.
It has.
So, this is a prime example of how political shifts can have a direct impact on people's lives.
This proposal had the potential to be a game changer for millions battling obesity.
Huge.
Imagine a 95% reduction in out-of-pocket costs for these medications.
It's hard to even imagine.
It's almost hard to imagine, especially considering the current price tag
Oh, yeah.
of these drugs, up to $5,540 a month
Wow.
for those without insurance.
That's a lot.
That's a significant barrier to access.
Absolutely. This proposal was aiming to tackle that issue of affordability head on.
Right.
But now with Trump's incoming administration and his HHS nominee, Robert Kennedy Jr.,
Right.
the future of this plan is uncertain.
And Kennedy has expressed reservations, hasn't he?
Yes.
He seems to lean towards prioritizing alternative obesity solutions.
Yeah.
Rather than relying solely on medications.
That's right. He's raised concerns about the potential long-term costs.
Okay.
And, the complexity of addressing obesity solely through pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
It highlights the multifaceted nature of healthcare policy, where economic considerations, political ideologies, and public health concerns often intersect.
Definitely a complex issue with no easy answers.
No.
Speaking of complex issues, let's shift gears to the financial realm
All right.
and discuss how multinational companies are grappling with the uncertainty surrounding Trump's policies, particularly when it comes to currency volatility.
So we're seeing a scramble to adjust foreign exchange hedging strategies in response to this unpredictable policy landscape. And this is particularly crucial for companies with significant international operations, especially in healthcare and industrial sectors.
For those who might not be familiar, can you explain what hedging is?
Sure.
and why it's so crucial in a volatile market like this.
So hedging is essentially a way for companies to protect themselves against the risks
Right.
associated with fluctuating exchange rates.
Okay.
It's a financial tool to mitigate potential losses when dealing with multiple currencies.
Got it. And the current political climate makes this even more important, would you say?
Absolutely. I mean, the Mexican peso, the Canadian dollar, even the euro have all weakened against the U.S. dollar since Trump's election.
Right. And this creates a direct impact on companies operating in those regions.
And healthcare and industrial firms are particularly vulnerable,
Yes.
as their revenues and costs are significantly impacted by these currency fluctuations.
Yeah.
How are they responding strategically?
So we're seeing a range of strategies being employed,
Okay.
from options to more complex instruments like cross-currency swaps.
Right.
So options provide the right, but not the obligation to buy or sell currency at a predetermined rate. It acts as a safety net.
Okay.
Cross-currency swaps, on the other hand, involve exchanging principal and interest payments in different currencies to manage exposure.
Got it.
So these strategies aim to minimize losses and maintain financial stability amidst this uncertainty.
So these strategic maneuvers really highlight how interconnected global markets truly are.
And do?
One policy shift can set off this cascade of reaction,
Right.
impacting businesses across borders.
Now let's move to a story that perfectly illustrates how allegations can send shockwaves through the global business landscape.
Okay.
The Adani Group, an Indian conglomerate, is facing a deepening crisis, as Moody's and Fitch downgraded their outlooks following bribery charges against billionaire Gautam Adani.
Yeah, these downgrades are essentially a red flag for investors.
Okay.
They signal that the company's financial health might be shaky,
Right.
and it raises concerns about their ability to secure funding and operate effectively.
Yeah.
It's a blow to their credibility and reputation.
And the impact is starkly evident in their stock performance.
It is.
Adani Group's losses have reached a staggering $34 billion.
Wow.
And Adani Green, their renewable energy arm, has been hit particularly hard,
Yes.
highlighting how interconnected their ventures are.
Absolutely.
But this story goes beyond Adani. We're witnessing a global ripple effect.
Yeah.
French oil giant Total Energies is halting investments.
Wow.
Sri Lanka is reviewing Adani projects, and even a potential power deal in India is under scrutiny.
So this shows how allegations of corruption, even before any legal verdict, can have far-reaching consequences.
It's a reminder that corporate actions have consequences that extend beyond balance sheets.
Absolutely.
They can impact investor confidence, disrupt partnerships, and even cast a shadow on entire industries.
It's true.
This brings us to a story closer to home,
Okay.
where Citigroup, one of America's largest banks, is making strategic moves that are sending ripples through its workforce.
All right.
Citigroup is slashing year-end promotions as part of CEO Jane Fraser's ambitious restructuring plans.
Interesting.
This signals a clear shift in corporate culture,
It does.
with a laser focus on cost-cutting and streamlining operations.
Okay.
And it's a response to various pressures, including regulatory scrutiny and the evolving financial landscape.
Yeah.
These measures, while aimed at enhancing efficiency, are understandably creating a sense of unease among employees.
Right.
Limited pay raises capped at around 15%. And promotions primarily tied to new roles are causing anxieties about career progression and job security.
I see.
This raises a crucial question. Can short-term cost-cutting measures coexist with long-term goals of talent retention and employee morale?
I don't know.
The potential consequences of these decisions on Citigroup's workforce dynamics are worth observing closely.
They are.
But these anxieties aren't limited to the financial sector.
Right.
Let's zoom in on the retail landscape, where giants like Kohl's and Best Buy are facing their own set of challenges.
Okay.
It seems like traditional retailers are having a tough time navigating the evolving market dynamics.
Yeah.
Kohl's and Best Buy are both reporting disappointing earnings,
Really?
highlighting the uphill battle they face.
Hmm.
Best Buy, in particular, has seen its 12th consecutive quarter of negative same-store sales.
Oh, wow.
That's a significant indicator of the headwinds they're facing.
It is.
And Kohl's is grappling with leadership changes as their CEO steps down, adding another layer of complexity.
So Best Buy's CEO attributes their performance to broader macroeconomic uncertainties and cautious consumer behavior.
Interesting.
Yeah.
This ties back to our earlier discussion on consumer confidence and how potential Trump tariffs are influencing purchasing decisions.
Wow, it's a confluence of factors,
Right.
creating a challenging environment for retailers.
Yeah.
Consumers are delaying purchases, especially on big-ticket items,
Right.
due to concerns about inflation,
Yeah.
potential interest rate hikes, and the looming uncertainty of Trump's trade policies.
Uh-huh.
So this cautiousness has a cascading effect on businesses like Best Buy who are feeling the pinch.
Yeah, it's a stark reminder that even retail giants aren't immune to the broader economic forces at play.
No, they're not.
But across the Atlantic in Europe,
Yeah.
we're seeing a different kind of power struggle play out
Right.
as one bank attempts to assert its dominance.
Okay.
UniCredit's ambitious takeover bid for Banco BPM
Yeah.
has been met with a firm rejection,
Interesting.
creating quite a stir in the European financial landscape.
So Banco BPM is citing undervaluation
Okay.
and concerns about the potential risks associated with UniCredit's expansion plans into Germany
Right.
as their primary reasons for this rejection.
Okay.
It's a bold move considering UniCredit's size and influence.
So this story reveals the intricate dance of international mergers and acquisitions,
It does.
particularly in the financial sector.
Right.
It's not just about numbers and valuations.
No.
Factors like market share, regulatory hurdles, and even national pride come into play.
Absolutely.
UniCredit CEO Andrea Orcel is known for his bold vision for cross-border expansion.
He is.
This rejection raises questions about his future plans
Yeah.
and whether he'll revise his strategy or set his sights on a different target.
Right.
The European banking scene is certainly one to watch closely.
It is.
But let's wrap up this part of our deep dive on a slightly more positive note,
Okay.
with a story that highlights government intervention in a crucial industry. Intel, the U.S. chip-making giant, has secured a significant win in the form of a $7.86 billion grant from the U.S. government.
Wow, that's huge.
This grant, aimed at bolstering domestic semiconductor manufacturing, is a major victory for Intel,
It is.
especially considering the fierce competition they face from global players like TSMC and NVIDIA.
Yeah.
What's the significance of this grant, and what does it tell us about the U.S. government's priorities?
Well, this grant is a clear manifestation of the GPS Act,
Okay.
which aims to revitalize U.S. leadership in semiconductor manufacturing. It's a strategic move to reduce reliance on foreign chip makers and enhance domestic production capacity.
Okay.
And the government recognizes the crucial role semiconductors play in various sectors, from technology to national security.
But this grant isn't a no-strings-attached handout, is it?
Well, no.
There are some interesting conditions that Intel has to comply with.
That's right. The grant comes with restrictions on stock buybacks for the next 5 years.
Okay.
And provisions for profit sharing with the government. It's a move to ensure that this investment benefits not just Intel, but also American taxpayers and the overall economy.
So it's a partnership of sorts.
It is.
A balancing act between government support and corporate autonomy.
Precisely. It's a calculated risk, but one that the U.S. government seems willing to take to bolster its position in the global tech landscape.
So it'll be fascinating to see how these conditions impact Intel's long-term investment decisions
Yeah,
and their ability to compete effectively in the global chip market.
absolutely. But for now, we've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
From trade wars and currency fluctuations to corporate shakeups and government interventions.
It's been quite a journey across the global business landscape, highlighting just how interconnected events are, regardless of industry or geography.
Yeah.
We'll be back shortly to delve deeper into some of these stories and uncover more insights.
Looking forward to it. Welcome back.
All right, so
Before we move on, I think it's worth circling back to Intel
Okay.
and those strings attached to the grant money they received.
Right.
Specifically, the restrictions on stock buybacks for the next 5 years.
yeah.
What are the potential ramifications of this condition, and how might it influence Intel's future?
Well, it's a really interesting point. Stock buybacks have become a common practice for corporations,
Yeah.
often seen as a way to boost share prices and reward investors.
Uh-huh.
By restricting buybacks, the government is essentially nudging Intel towards a different path.
Right. It's a subtle but significant shift in focus.
Okay.
Instead of prioritizing short-term gains through buybacks, Intel is incentivized to reinvest those funds back into the company,
Right.
particularly into research development and expansion of their manufacturing capabilities.
So in a way, it's a bet on long-term growth and innovation,
Exactly.
aligning with the broader goals of the GPS Act to bolster U.S. competitiveness in the semiconductor industry.
Precisely. It's a calculated gamble, but one with potentially high rewards.
Yeah.
By fostering a more innovation-driven environment,
Mm-hmm.
the government hopes to see Intel emerge as a stronger competitor against those global rivals like TSMC and NVIDIA.
It's like a strategic nudge, encouraging Intel to prioritize building a stronger foundation for the future,
Right.
rather than focusing solely on short-term market performance.
Exactly. And it'll be interesting to see how this plays out in coming years.
Yeah.
Will these restrictions truly spur innovation and make Intel a more formidable force in the global chip market?
Right.
Only time will tell.
But for now, let's zoom out and revisit the challenges faced by traditional retailers,
Okay.
particularly Best Buy.
Yeah.
They're citing macroeconomic uncertainty and cautious consumer behavior as key factors behind their declining sales.
Mm-hmm.
What does this tell us about the current state of the consumer mindset?
Well, it reveals a sense of unease among consumers,
Yeah.
a hesitation to spend freely, especially on those discretionary items like electronics.
Yeah.
It's a natural response to the multiple pressures they're facing. Rising inflation is eroding purchasing power. Potential interest rate hikes are looming. And the unpredictability of Trump's trade policies adds another layer of uncertainty.
So it's not just about wanting or not wanting the latest gadgets.
Right.
It's about a more profound sense of financial caution,
I think so.
a reluctance to commit to big purchases when the economic outlook feels shaky.
Absolutely. And this caution extends beyond just big-ticket items.
Okay.
We're seeing a broader trend of consumers tightening their belts,
Yeah.
cutting back on discretionary spending across the board.
Right.
From dining out to travel and entertainment, people are becoming more selective about where they spend their money.
And it's a ripple effect that impacts the entire economy.
It is.
When consumers pull back, businesses feel the pinch,
Yeah.
which can lead to job losses and further economic slowdown.
It's a delicate balance.
Yeah.
And Best Buy's struggles are a microcosm of this larger trend.
Right.
Their performance serves as a barometer of consumer sentiment, reflecting the anxieties and uncertainties that are shaping spending habits.
Now shifting gears to the international stage, let's delve deeper into the potential ramifications of Trump's proposed tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and China.
All right.
Are we on the brink of a full-blown trade war?
Well, it's a question that has economists and businesses alike on edge.
Yeah.
While Trump's history suggests a penchant for using tariffs as a negotiating tactic,
Right.
the intensity of the rhetoric and the potential economic fallout have heightened concerns.
Ford and GM, as we discussed earlier, are already feeling the heat
Yeah.
due to their reliance on those cross-border supply chains.
Right.
But what are the broader implications for the global economy if these tariffs become a reality?
Well, the potential consequences are significant.
Yeah.
Trade wars, by their very nature, disrupt the flow of goods and services,
Right.
leading to higher prices for consumers, reduced competitiveness for businesses,
Right.
and ultimately slower economic growth.
So it's a lose-lose situation for everyone involved.
Yeah.
And in today's interconnected global economy, the fallout would be felt far and wide.
Precisely, we're not just talking about isolated impacts.
Right.
These tariffs could trigger retaliatory measures from other countries, creating a cascade of protectionist policies that would unravel the delicate fabric of global trade.
It's a sobering thought,
Yeah.
and it underscores the need for clear-headed leadership
Yes.
and a commitment to cooperation rather than confrontation in the face of these global economic challenges.
Absolutely. Now let's turn our attention to the unfolding drama surrounding the Adani Group.
Okay.
Those bribery allegations against Gautam Adani have sparked a crisis of confidence,
Right.
leading to downgrades from Moody's and Fitch. But let's delve deeper into what those downgrades actually signify.
They're essentially a warning signal for investors, aren't they?
They are.
A sign that the company's financial health is in question.
That's right. It's like a credit score for companies. These downgrades make it more expensive for Adani to borrow money,
Right.
as lenders will perceive them as a higher risk.
Yeah.
It also makes it more difficult to attract new investors who might be wary of the allegations and the potential financial instability.
And we've seen the tangible impact of this eroded confidence.
We have.
Adani Group's stock has plummeted, losing billions of dollars in value.
Right.
Projects are being put on hold.
Yeah.
And even their renewable energy arm, Adani Green, is facing setbacks. It's a stark reminder that allegations of corruption can have far-reaching consequences even before any legal proceedings are concluded.
The fallout extends beyond immediate financial losses. It casts a shadow over corporate governance practices,
Right.
raises questions about transparency and accountability, and can even erode trust in entire industries.
It's a reminder that business isn't conducted in a vacuum. Ethics and reputation matter, and when those are called into question, the consequences can be swift and severe.
Absolutely. And in the case of Adani, the ripple effects are being felt not just within India.
But globally, as we've seen with Total Energies, halting investments, and Sri Lanka reviewing Adani projects.
So this brings us to an interesting question. Beyond the immediate crisis, what are the long-term implications of this saga for investor confidence in Indian conglomerates?
That's a crucial question. The Adani case has undoubtedly shaken investor confidence,
Right.
raising concerns about the potential for similar issues in other large Indian companies. It highlights the need for greater transparency, stronger corporate governance practices, and a renewed focus on ethical conduct to restore trust and attract investment.
It's a wake-up call not just for Adani, but for the entire Indian corporate sector.
Indeed. Now let's shift gears to the healthcare arena,
Okay.
where the Biden administration's proposal to expand Medicare, Medicaid coverage for weight loss drugs hangs in the balance with Trump's return to power.
Right. It's a stark reminder of how political shifts can have a profound impact on healthcare policy and ultimately on people's lives.
This proposal had the potential to dramatically increase access to these medications.
It did.
But with Trump and his HHS nominee, Robert Kennedy Jr.,
Right.
expressing skepticism,
Right.
the future is uncertain.
This debate goes beyond just the cost of medication.
Okay.
It delves into deeper questions about the role of government in healthcare,
Right.
the prioritization of different treatment approaches, and the complex ethical considerations surrounding obesity and its treatment.
And Kennedy in particular seems to favor a more holistic approach,
He does.
emphasizing lifestyle changes and preventative measures
Yeah.
rather than relying solely on pharmaceuticals.
He's raised concerns about the potential for over-reliance on medication
Right.
and the importance of addressing the underlying factors contributing to obesity,
Right.
such as diet, exercise, and environmental influences.
Right.
So it's a complex issue with no easy answers.
Definitely.
And the incoming administration's stance will undoubtedly shape the direction of obesity treatment in the U.S.
It's a crucial discussion that needs to happen,
It is?
balancing individual needs with societal costs and long-term health outcomes.
Absolutely. And it highlights the importance of staying engaged in the political process.
Yeah.
Healthcare policies have a direct impact on our lives. And it's crucial that we make our voices heard.
Now let's cross the Atlantic again
Okay.
and check in on Andrea Orcel, the ambitious CEO of UniCredit.
All right.
His grand vision for European expansion hit a snag with the rejection of his takeover bid for Banco BPM.
It did.
But he's not known for giving up easily.
He's not.
What are the potential scenarios that might unfold from here?
Well, it's a fascinating strategic puzzle.
Yeah.
One possibility is that Orcel could come back with a revised offer for Banco BPM,
Okay.
addressing their concerns about undervaluation and the risks associated with UniCredit's German expansion plans.
Right.
He might sweeten the deal to make it more enticing.
Right, so it's a classic negotiation tactic.
It is,
But it would require careful consideration.
of course.
Orcel needs to weigh the potential benefits of acquiring Banco BPM
Right.
against the costs of a revised offer and the potential risks involved.
Uh-huh.
Another possibility is that he sets his sights on a different target altogether.
That's true.
There are other banks in Europe that might be more receptive to a merger or acquisition,
Right.
offering UniCredit a different path towards achieving their expansion goals.
It's a dynamic landscape with several players vying for position.
Yeah.
And Orcel is known for his strategic acumen and his willingness to take calculated risks.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see which direction he chooses and how it impacts the European banking landscape.
It's a fascinating power play to watch unfold.
It is.
But for now, let's take a closer look at a story that's making headlines in the corporate world.
Okay.
One that shines a light on the changing dynamics of leadership and the pressure to perform.
All right.
Citigroup, one of America's largest banks, is making headlines for slashing year-end promotions as part of a major restructuring effort.
So this move, orchestrated by CEO Jane Fraser, signals a shift in corporate culture at Citigroup. It's a clear message that the focus is on streamlining operations, cutting costs, and ultimately delivering better returns for shareholders.
But these measures, while aimed at enhancing efficiency, are creating some ripples of discontent among employees.
Right.
Limited pay raises and promotions primarily tied to new roles are causing anxieties about career progression and job security.
It raises questions about the long-term impact on employee morale and talent retention.
Yeah.
Can a company maintain a high-performing workforce
Right.
while simultaneously implementing such stringent cost-cutting measures?
It's a balancing act that many companies are grappling with in today's competitive landscape.
It is.
But let's shift our focus back to the retail sector,
Okay.
where we've seen giants like Kohl's and Best Buy struggling to adapt to evolving consumer habits
Yeah.
and a challenging economic environment.
It's a tough time to be a traditional retailer.
It is.
The rise of e-commerce, the increasing dominance of Amazon,
Right.
and the ever-changing whims of consumers have created a perfect storm of challenges.
And Best Buy in particular has been hit hard with 12 consecutive quarters of negative same-store sales.
Wow.
What are the key factors contributing to their woes, and what does it tell us about the broader trends shaping the retail landscape?
Well, it's a confluence of factors.
Okay.
The macroeconomic uncertainties we've discussed, coupled with changing consumer preferences, are putting pressure on these traditional brick-and-mortar stores.
Right.
Consumers are increasingly comfortable shopping online,
Ah.
seeking convenience, competitive pricing, and a wider selection of products.
And companies like Best Buy are having to adapt, aren't they?
They are.
They're trying to enhance their online presence,
Right.
offer more personalized experiences, and create compelling reasons for customers to visit their physical stores.
It's a race to stay relevant.
Yeah.
And those who fail to innovate risk being left behind.
Right.
The retail landscape is undergoing a fundamental transformation.
Uh-huh.
And only those who embrace change will thrive.
That's a great point. And as we continue our deep dive into the global business landscape,
Mhm.
we'll explore these themes of adaptation, innovation, and resilience across different industries and geographies.
Stay tuned for the final part of our journey where we'll uncover more insights and connect the dots between seemingly unrelated events to reveal the intricate tapestry of the global business world.
Welcome back to the final leg of our deep dive. Let's start by circling back to the Adani Group.
Okay.
We've talked about the bribery allegations
Right.
and the resulting downgrades from Moody's and Fitch.
Yeah.
What are the practical implications of these downgrades, particularly when it comes to Adani's access to funding?
So these downgrades essentially make it more expensive for Adani Group to borrow money.
Okay.
Think of it like a personal credit score.
Right.
A lower score means higher interest rates. Lenders perceive a greater risk when a company's outlook is downgraded.
Right.
So they demand higher returns to compensate for that risk.
So it becomes this like vicious cycle.
Exactly.
Allegations lead to downgrades, which then make it harder to secure funding,
Right.
potentially exacerbating the financial strain the company's already facing.
And this is where Adani Green, their renewable energy arm, becomes a particularly interesting case study.
Okay.
They were relying heavily on external financing to fuel their ambitious growth plans.
Right.
These downgrades could significantly impact their ability to secure the capital they need to move forward.
So it raises questions about the long-term viability of some of their projects.
Yeah.
Can they still attract investors and secure loans at favorable rates with this cloud of uncertainty hanging over them?
It's a crucial question, and it highlights the interconnectedness of reputation, financial stability, and the ability to execute on these ambitious plans.
Yeah.
Adani Green's success was predicated on a perception of stability and growth potential.
Uh-huh.
These allegations have undoubtedly shaken that perception,
Right.
creating a challenging road ahead.
It seems like a cautionary tale for any company,
Yeah.
emphasizing the importance of not just financial performance, but also ethical conduct and transparency.
Absolutely. Now let's shift gears to a story that highlights the intersection of politics, healthcare, and personal choices.
Okay.
The future of the Biden administration's proposal to expand Medicaid coverage for weight loss drugs is uncertain with Trump's return.
Right.
What are the key arguments on both sides of this debate?
It's a complex issue.
Yeah.
On one hand, you have the argument for expanding access to these medications,
Right.
making them affordable for millions who currently struggle with the cost.
Uh-huh.
Proponents argue that this would not only improve individual health outcomes,
Yeah.
but also potentially reduce the overall healthcare burden associated with obesity-related conditions.
They view it as a proactive approach,
Okay.
addressing a significant public health concern head-on.
Right.
And let's not forget the potential economic benefits.
Uh-huh.
Increased access to these medications could lead to a healthier workforce,
Right.
increased productivity, and reduced healthcare expenditures in the long run.
But there's another side to this story.
There is
Opponents, including Trump's HHS nominee Robert Kennedy Jr., expressed concerns about the potential costs
Yeah.
associated with expanding coverage to such a large population.
They argue that it could place a significant strain
Right.
on the already stretched Medicaid budgets.
Yeah.
And they raise questions about whether medication alone is the solution to the complex problem of obesity.
And Kennedy in particular emphasizes the importance of addressing the root causes of obesity,
Yeah.
such as poor diet, lack of exercise, and environmental factors that contribute to unhealthy habits.
Yeah, he favors a more holistic approach
Okay.
that focuses on prevention and lifestyle changes rather than relying solely on pharmaceuticals.
So it's a valid point.
It is.
Addressing a complex health issue like obesity requires a multi-pronged approach
It does.
that goes beyond simply providing access to medication.
Right.
It necessitates a broader societal shift towards healthier lifestyles,
Right.
which is a much more challenging undertaking.
It is a debate with no easy answers.
Definitely.
And it highlights the challenges of crafting healthcare policies that balance individual needs, economic considerations, and long-term public health goals.
Now let's hop back across the Atlantic
Okay.
and check in on Andrea Orcel, the ambitious CEO of UniCredit.
Right.
His grand vision for European expansion hit a snag
It did.
with the rejection of his takeover bid for Banco BPM.
Right.
But he's not known for giving up easily.
No, he's not.
What are the potential scenarios that might unfold from here?
Well, it's a fascinating strategic puzzle.
Yeah.
One possibility is that Orcel could come back with a revised offer for Banco BPM,
Okay.
addressing their concerns about undervaluation
Right.
and the risks associated with UniCredit's German expansion plans.
Right.
He might sweeten the deal to make it more enticing.
It's a classic negotiation tactic,
It is.
but it would require careful consideration.
Yeah.
Orcel needs to weigh the potential benefits of acquiring Banco BPM
Right.
against the costs of a revised offer and the potential risks involved.
Another possibility is that he sets his sights on a different target altogether.
Right.
There are other banks in Europe that might be more receptive to a merger or acquisition,
Yeah.
offering UniCredit a different path towards achieving their expansion goals.
It's a dynamic landscape with several players vying for position.
It is.
And Orcel is known for his strategic acumen
Yeah.
and his willingness to take calculated risks.
So it'll be interesting to see which direction he chooses
Yeah.
and how it impacts the European banking landscape.
It's a reminder that the business world is constantly evolving. Leaders need to be adaptable, strategic, and willing to adjust their plans in response to changing circumstances.
Now let's turn our attention to a story that highlights the challenges
Okay.
faced by even the most established institutions in a rapidly changing world.
Okay.
Citigroup, one of America's largest banks, is slashing year-end promotions as part of a sweeping restructuring effort.
It's a bold move by CEO Jane Fraser,
It is.
signaling a shift in corporate culture towards a more streamlined, cost-conscious approach. But these measures are creating ripples of anxiety among employees who are facing limited pay raises and a tighter path to promotion.
It raises a fundamental question.
Yeah.
Can a company prioritize efficiency and cost-cutting while simultaneously maintaining a motivated and engaged workforce?
Right.
It's a delicate balancing act.
And it's a challenge that many companies across various industries are grappling with.
Yeah.
How do you optimize for efficiency without sacrificing the human capital that drives innovation and long-term success?
It requires a nuanced approach,
Sure.
one that recognizes the importance of both financial performance and employee well-being.
Right.
Fraser's strategy at Citigroup will be closely watched,
Yeah.
as its success or failure could offer valuable lessons for other companies navigating similar challenges.
It's a reminder that even in the pursuit of efficiency, the human element remains paramount.
Now let's wrap up our deep dive by revisiting a theme that's woven through many of the stories we've discussed. The need for adaptation in the face of a rapidly changing world.
From traditional retailers like Kohl's and Best Buy grappling with the rise of e-commerce,
Right?
to multinational companies navigating the complexities of global trade and currency fluctuations. The ability to adapt is more crucial than ever.
It's no longer enough to simply react to change.
Right.
Companies need to anticipate it, embrace it,
Yeah.
and even drive it.
Yeah.
Those who cling to outdated models and resist innovation risk being left behind.
And this applies not just to businesses, but to individuals as well.
That's right.
In a world where technological advancements, geopolitical shifts, and economic uncertainties are reshaping the landscape at an unprecedented pace,
Yeah.
the ability to adapt, learn, and evolve is paramount.
It's about embracing a mindset of continuous learning
Okay.
being open to new ideas,
Ah,
and having the flexibility to adjust course when needed.
yeah.
Those who cultivate these qualities will be best equipped to navigate the complexities of the 21st century and thrive amidst the constant change.
So as we conclude this deep dive, we encourage you to reflect on these themes and consider how they might apply to your own life, your career, and your understanding of the world around you.
Stay curious, stay informed, and most importantly, stay adaptable.
Yeah.
The world is full of challenges, but it's also brimming with opportunities for those who are willing to embrace the journey.
And that's a wrap on our exploration of the global business landscape. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.